Hey, seventh grade. So our learning target today is I can do fraction math with a calculator. Basically, how could you take a problem, get it all entered in your calculator and get an answer? Basically, how could you survive a test? That's what we're going to talk about today. Just a testing situation or just needing an answer when dealing with fractions. So important things you need to know. I have these notes already there for you, but let's talk about them. First, you need to turn every fraction into a decimal, including the answer choices. So all answer choices need to be turned into a decimal. After you do that, we're going to go ahead and do the math. And then finally, we are going to decide or pick the decimal that's closest to your answer, which means that we might have to turn some things back into a fraction. We'll see kind of what happens in our examples today, but how do we basically survive? So first we turn every fraction into a decimal. We also need to do it for the answer choices, and then we do the math. So we're going to start by calculating the fractions. So we're going to go ahead and look at this first fraction. And what I want you to do, everywhere you see a fraction today, you're going to go ahead and put parentheses around it. Parentheses kind of protect the fraction. So we have this first fraction. In your calculator, I want you to go parenthesis 2 divide 8 parenthesis. That's how we're going to input that in our calculator. The sign in the middle is division. Parenthesis, we're going to take that negative and we're going to attach it to the 7. So it's going to be negative 7 divide 3. So go ahead and take a look at that. So we had 2 divided by 8. There we go. The sign in the middle is division. And then we have negative 7 divided by 3. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put all of that in our calculator sequence, just like that in that order. So I'm going to go ahead and type in parenthesis 2 divide 8 parenthesis divide parenthesis negative 7 divide 3 parenthesis, and my output becomes negative 0.11. So I end up with this huge decimal of negative 0.1, and I'm going to round 1. So I'm looking for negative 11 cents. So I'm going to look at my answer choices over here and look for negative 11 cents. So it has to be negative. So B is out and D is out. We know our answer has to be negative. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and look at answer choice A. I'm going to take this negative and attach it to the top. And I'm going to use parentheses again around every one of these fractions. So we're going to go parenthesis, negative 56, divide by 6, parenthesis. Negative 56 divided by 6, parentheses. So negative 56 divided by 6, parentheses. And I end up getting negative 9.33. Negative $9.33. Well, the answer I'm looking for is negative 11 cents. So that can't be right. A is wrong. So it must be C, but let's confirm it by typing it in. So we're going to use parentheses around every fraction. We're going to take the negative and attach it to the numerator. So we have parentheses, negative 6 divide by 56. So use a parenthesis though, negative 6 divide by 56. We need it to be negative 11 cents. And with rounding, it comes out to negative 11 cents. So our answer is C. Now, if I'm going too fast, you need to pause the video. Go back, rework it, check it again. Okay, so this next problem here is some mixed numbers. I'm going to rewrite that because the format of this is not great. So let's rewrite it. 5 2/3. Everybody's rewriting 5 2/3 plus 5 1/2. 5 2/3 plus 5 1/2. Okay, group. So here's the deal. Whole numbers are easy to deal with. So the whole numbers we're just going to lock in. So we're going to say we could find a common denominator here, but what happens if we're just going to dump it all in our calculator? So we're going to go 5 decimal point, and we're going to get some, we're going to turn that fraction into hundredths place, plus 5 decimal point blank blank. So in our calculator, we're going to just input just this here. So I'm going to highlight what we're inputting. You're going to go grab your calculator. Well, let's use parentheses. We're going to go parentheses 2 divide parenthesis parenthesis 2 divide parenthesis. Go ahead and do that. Parenthesis 2 divide parenthesis. We're going to round as if it's money, becomes 67 cents. So we have $5.67. Again, we're just trying to find a way to survive a question right now. Normally we would find a common denominator and work through it that way. Okay, over on the other side. We've already committed the 5. The 5 is locked in. Decimal point's going to kick in here. What's the fraction? I'm going to use parentheses. So in my fraction form, I go parentheses 1 divide 2, parenthesis 1 divide 2 is 5, and I'm going to put a placeholder there of 0, like 50 cents. So together that becomes $11, and so we have $5.67 plus $5.50 gives me $11.17. Looking at my possible answer choices, A is out, B is out. I'm looking for $11.17. That one's looking good. And D is out. So C is the correct answer, just using mental math with plug and crap into our calculator. Okay, group, let's keep rolling here. Let's rewrite this one because of format. That's 3 1/4 divided by 5 1/3. 3 1/4 divided by 5 1/3. So because of space, I'm going to move my work down here. So that becomes 3. And so our fraction there is 1/4. So we have this parenthesis there that we're going to substitute in. Make sure that we use a parenthesis around all fractions as we start to substitute. So we have parenthesis 1 divided by 4. Parenthesis 1 divided by 4. 1 divided by 4 is the same thing as 1/4 of a dollar. So go ahead and type that in. Everybody should be typing that in. 1 divided by 4. We're going to blank it so we get some money there. 1 divided by 4 comes out as 25 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight what I just said there. We have 3 1/4 is the same as 3.25. The sign in the middle was division, so we're going to just drag that down, and because of space, I'm writing it down here. And over on the right-hand side, we have this 5. We're going to lock that in as our whole number, and we're going to blank it. The parenthesis then goes around the fraction. Now we're going to deal with just the fraction. I'll highlight it in blue. So in blue, we have this 1/3. In our calculator, we're going to parenthesis 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3 becomes 33 cents. So this entire 5 1/3 turns into 5.33. Let's go ahead and type this in our calculator. So we have 3.25 divided by 5.33. Turns out to be, if I were to round to the nearest hundredth, 61 cents. So type this in your calculator and you get 61 cents. So we're going to go ahead and have to type all of these in our calculator this time to see if they're correct. So the first one we have 3 divided by 5. 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. That's pretty close. Placeholder would be 60 cents. Well, that might work. Let's keep working now. We're going to put this in our calculator. Parenthesis, parentheses. We're going to type that whole sequence in our calculator. Parenthesis. 3 divide 5 parenthesis plus, I'm doing part B. Parenthesis 3 divided by 5 parenthesis plus parenthesis 3 divided by 4 gives us $1.35. Nope, that one's out. C. Most of us know what 3/4 of a dollar is. 3/4 of a dollar is 75 cents, or you can type in your calculator 3 divided by 4 gives us 75 cents. That is not closest to 61, so that's a no. And our last example, we're going to go ahead and put that in our calculator. It's going to be 39 divided by 64. So we have 39 divided by 64 gives us 61 cents. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Answer is D. Now, you might have had a shortcut or a faster way to solve that, but that's what we're going to go with there. Okay, guys, so some more calculator math as we start to proceed. In this next part, so we have 2/5, I'm going to rewrite this so it's in better format, times 7/8. Okay? I'm going to parenthesis all my work here, so I'm going to parenthesis all my fractions, and we can put that all in our calculator together. So in my fractions then, I have parenthesis 2 divided by 5 parenthesis. Go ahead and type that in. Parenthesis 2 divided by 5 parenthesis, multiply by 7 divided by 8. Again, we have parenthesis 2 divided by 5 parenthesis, multiply by parenthesis 7 divided by 8. Answer becomes 35 cents. So I'm looking at which one of these could be possibly 35 cents. So we're going to type those in our calculator. I can see that the first two will not be because of mental math. I can just see that. But I'm going to go ahead and work through them anyway in case you can't see that. Which one of these is going to be 35 cents? So if I type that in my calculator, 14 divided by 8, I get $1.75. Nope, not even close to 35 cents. Keep working through this then. In part B, we have 14 divided by 5. 14 divided by 5 is 2.8. Nope, not even close. In part C is 7 divided by 20. Nope, not even close. Just kidding. Sorry about that. Part C is actually exactly right. There's our 35 cents. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, group, we have 2 left. I know this video is getting kind of long, but we're going to keep plugging away. 2 left. How do we solve it out with a calculator? So in part A, I have 6 minus 2 and 7/8. What do we do without a calculator? Or with a calculator, pardon me, with a calculator. So we can take 6 and we can subtract 2 and put a parenthesis around this. So we can go ahead and type in 6 subtract 2, put a parenthesis around 7 divided by 8. So we would just type this whole sequence in. Go ahead and grab your calculator. 6, and then hit subtract, and then hit 2, and then we're going to type in this calculator sequence. So we're going to go parenthesis 7 divide by 8. Everybody type that in the same sequence that you see. 6 subtract 2 parenthesis 7 divided by 8, and you get 4.25. Make sure we use parentheses on those fractions. Super important. All right, so B is out and D is out, 4.25. So we're looking for the closest possible answer. Which answer is possibly the closest? So it's going to have to be A is going to be the closest possible answer, because in part C, 4 and 7/8 is almost 5. So that's out. So it has to be A. Okay, group, last problem of the day. Using your calculators, we're going to go ahead and put parentheses around these. So I'm going to go ahead and say parenthesis 5 divided by 6. Sign in the middle is subtract. Parenthesis 1 divided by 5. Put that whole sequence in. Parenthesis 5 divided by 6, parenthesis, minus 1 divided by 5, parentheses. So parenthesis 5 divided by 6 minus 1 divided by 5 gives me 63 cents. 63 cents. So I'm looking for which one of these is 63 cents. So as I'm scanning, I know C is out because that's $4. Going ahead and plug in the other ones. Just using my calculator, 6 divided by 25, part A. I put 6 divided by 25 in my calculator and I get 24 cents. Not looking good for part A. In part B, I put 4 divided by 30. If I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause that video. 4 divided by 30 is 13 cents. Not looking for good for B. It must be D, but I'm going to confirm. Is it true that 19 divided by 30 gives me 63 cents? That is true, so 63 cents is our answer. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So our goal today in the state of Minnesota is to be able to just use a calculator. So there's a bunch of fractions in there. So our first goal is to be able to change everything to decimals. That's our first goal. Change everything to decimals. Everybody should be ready. Our next thing is that we're going to use parentheses around any fractions if necessary. So you can change to decimals, or you can use parentheses around fractions. And the last thing is make sure that I'm not going to use that as the summary, check answers carefully. Go ahead and write that, guys. Everybody should be writing. Everybody should be writing. Okay, group. So 7th grade. For your homework tonight, the beauty of tonight's homework is you don't have to really show any work. You can use parentheses around all fractions. You can put it all into your calculator. You don't have to really show a lot of work. You need to complete then page 18, 19, and 20. Now, I'm not expecting a ton of work on tonight's assignment, so it'll be kind of your first time all year that you don't have to show a lot of work. Have a fabulous night. You need to get done. Page 18, 19, 20 due tomorrow. Goodbye. Goodbye.